Hey guys, it's Ben here, and today I'm going to be walking through the Most Cookies PicoCTF web app challenge. So, we're given a description which says, alright, enough of using my own encryption, Flask session cookies should be plenty secure. We're given the source code here, and we're also given the website. I've got the website open, and the source code is here. Before digging through the source code, let's just have a play around, let's see what functionality this web app has. We've given this text which says, welcome to my cookie search page, now with the best security. It pre-fills this snickerdoodle, so we can perhaps input this, see what this does, snickerdoodle, and go back to this. That is a cookie not very special. So it just leaves us on this page. If we refresh this, it stays the same. So perhaps when we input that, it sets a cookie. We can have another look. We can look at the source code and intercept and request in a second. I do want to show if we put a random word, it does say this doesn't appear to be a valid cookie. So let's just have a look. Let's reset this. Let's get burp suite intercept going. Let's get burp suite open. I do want to close this here. Get the proxy intercept on. And let's just apply snickerdoodle. So that's the request made here. It does look like we already have this session key cookie. This looks a bit like a GWT, but it also doesn't. If we hover over or select this first part, which is the base64 encoded part, we can see this is very off. It's blank. I'm going to send this to repeater. If we send this request, we get a response, and we can see the session cookie has changed. So, hover over this now. This is very off snickerdoodle. So it looks like when we send a cookie as with the post request name, and we send like a valid cookie, it sets that in our session key, and it'll be using a Flask session key. We can actually look at the source code to understand a bit more what's going on. When we submit this name snickerdoodle, here we are sending a post request to the search endpoint. So we can look at the search. It basically says if name is in request.form. So in our post request, does it contain name? It does. And it also does if request form name, so the value of what we sent here, if this exists in cookie names, and we can look, cookie names is this array here, see snickerdoodle's first. So as that is the case in this one here, like we supplied snickerdoodle, we posted it with the name value, the name parameter, this will happen because that is true. In our other request, if we did, for example, hello world, which won't exist in cookie names array, it will follow that other path. It will follow this. That doesn't appear to be a valid cookie. So if we follow direction, it will say that isn't what I was expecting it to say. I was expecting it to say that won't be a valid cookie. That's probably burp suite messing around because when we did it here with like a random cookie, it does say, let's turn off burp suite intercept. Let's do that again. It does say when we use an invalid cookie, which isn't in the this cookie names list, it does say that doesn't appear to be a valid cookie. However, when we do use a valid cookie, which is in this cookie list here, it redirects us to this display endpoint, and it sets our session very off, which is our session key basically equal to the request form name, which is actually our cookie name, and then it returns it. So that's what it does. This session key, very off. We can see it's set up at the beginning here. Flask session keys work by first of all, let's just Flask session key. The first part of the key, and if I just get an example one, let's get one from here. Is this a snickerdoodle? That is not, but it's fine. It looks like this. This first part, so there we go. This first part here is the base64 encoded part of the actual information about our user. In this case, it's very auth, and then the cookie we've chosen. The second part, I believe, is a timestamp. and this last part is the HMAC. So this is signed. This key is signed by something. This signature basically means we can't go and change this and edit it for our own benefit. What it's signed with is this secret key. And if we look at the source code, it is signed with a random choice from this list. So we know it's signed from one of these cookies here. We don't know what yet, but we can figure that out in a minute. If we go back to this display endpoint, and that's the one where if we, for example, set a cookie like Snickerdoodle, go to this display and it says I love Snickerdoodle cookies. If we go back to this display here, it first does a check if session.getVeryAuth, so does this session cookie exist veryauth? It does, and then this check is the value of that. So in our case, with this case here, this value will be Snickerdoodle. It then checks if this is admin. Okay, so it checks if it's admin, and if it is, it looks like it's going to display the flag. If it's not admin, it's going to say that is a cookie not very special, and that's the what we get displayed here. So if our veryauth session cookie says admin, we get the flag. In any of the other cookies we can set it to, it will just display that as a cookie not very special, and then it will display this. So I guess what we want to do is we want to make our cookie be equal to this admin here. But we can't just change that. We can't just, for example, copy this here, right? We can't just, let's just copy this first bit. I'll show you what I mean. We can't just edit this to be admin, for example, admin, apply changes, and that base64 part will change. We can't do this because it was signed with the secret key and we don't know what that is. So I could, if it wasn't signed, just change this here, like that, and then go to this display endpoint, and then it resets my cookie, because that doesn't work. The cookie is invalid, it's not signed. We can't just change it, otherwise the HMAC will break. So we do need to find the secret key. The secret key is one of these. We don't know what it is, but we can see it's a random choice. So there is a tool called Flask unsign. You can get this with pip reinstall Flask unsign. This will allow us to brute force with a word list this secret key. Let's just grab this valid session key. Actually, before this, I'm going to make the word list. So let's grab this. I want to make, close this, close without saving. I want to make a word list. Let's just copy the contents of this. Copy. Let's save this to cookie underscore word list text. I'm going to paste this in here. I'm going to do some find and replace just to get rid of quotes, get rid of all of those. There we go, and we're just left with commas and a space, so I can go comma, space, and replace that with a new line, just so we split them into new line. And then we've got a list of the cookies, which could be chosen for the secret key, which is used to for the HMAC. So what we can now do is use this Flask unsign tool. If we go ls, we've got that cookie word list there, and we can use this Flask unsign package. Let's grab a cookie, which is a valid one here. I will show you some information about this. If we go Flask unsign and then just go leave its decode, we can supply the cookie like this, like so, and it will decode it. In this case, the veryauth is set to blank, but yeah, we can also crack it by going. We'll keep the cookie there. I'm going to unsign this, and I do need to supply a word list, and this will tell us the secret key which has been used to encrypt this. And the word list is cookie word list. That will run, and then eventually found the secret key, fortune. We can see that's on our list there. So what we can do now is sign our own cookie, basically. The cookie I want to sign is going to be the veryauth one. If we look back at our source code, just to remember, it checks if it's equal to admin. If it's equal to admin, then we get the flag. So I can set that equal to admin. I know the secret from our Flask and sign brute force is fortune, so I can say secret is fortune, and it will give us a key here. Give us a valid Flask session key cookie. So we can go inspect, we can go back to here, and we can change this, set this, refresh, and we get the flag. So yeah, that challenge is done. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.